Hello, Roy.
Hey Dave, how you doing?
Well, I'm doing actually uh, better than I ever have in the last while.
Oh, that's
Uh,
good.
well, it's just been a real powerful spiritual breakthrough in my life.
Yeah,
Not that I haven't been walking with God before, but
yeah,
I mean, maybe with you, with everyone, it's different. But with me, uh, I just felt we're in such desperate times, as well as even in my own circumstances. I wanted to see breakthrough. And I
yeah,
sense
yeah,
the
yeah,
Lord prodding me to start praying double the time I normally pray. And boy,
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
experiencing a very powerful, not a religious duty thing, but a very powerful time in
yeah.
prayer, just beyond what I've ever experienced. And
That's awesome. That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, so
That's awesome. That's
yeah.
what we need always.
And physically, I've been doing very good as far as, I don't even
Well, that's great.
know I have the
Yeah,
cancer. I'm running up the hill there 3 times a
yeah,
week, and I found out if I
yeah,
do a 5 minute walk before I do
yeah,
the 35-minute run up the hill, or 35
yeah,
second dash up the
yeah,
hill,
yeah,
that
yeah,
it's
yeah,
easy to do. Whereas
yeah,
if
yeah.
I did in the past, I did 3 minutes and it was hard. So anyhow,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Wow,
So
that's
now,
good. What hill are you talking about?
well, there's some really steep hills. Just if you go down 216th and you cross Fraser going south, um,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
you go up the first turn there, or where there's the circle thing.
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then I just go up. I turn left there, going eastward. So
Oh,
there's
yeah, 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 yeah,
steep
yeah,
hills there. So I just park the car and I go for basically a 35
yeah.
second run
I
up
used
that
to
hill.
walk up. I used to walk up 50th.
Oh yeah.
By from 216th and over, you drive by the school there, and you park there, and this steep uphill, and I used to do for a half-hour walk. Up the,
Oh good.
up the hill there was quite, yeah, it's quite steep.
Yeah, yeah. So this
That's
one's
wrong now.
quite a steep one, and
Well, that's good.
I've been
Well, you
doing
haven't
that.
had much contact. Well, it's not my fault.
Oh no,
This
no,
last
that's
few
not your
months,
fault.
but
Yeah,
but yeah, yeah. So how have you been doing through this
COVID.
so-called pandemic nonsense?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, a lot of things
It's
are.
crazy stuff.
Oh, it
Oh, it's
is.
good.
It is. It is crazy.
It's all about
Uh,
control, isn't it?
oh yeah, there's a lot of that coming into play. That's for sure.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean, I
yeah,
watch
yeah.
Fox News. You probably do too. So you
Well,
probably.
no, actually we're on holidays, so we've been traveling for the last week, and we have another week left.
Oh, okay.
So we're out actually I'm in Fintry, just across the water from Kelowna.
Oh, that's where you are now.
Sun just went down. Yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were at
So
home. Yeah.
no, no, I haven't been home for a week.
Oh, oh wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
we just fixed up our trailer and we took off.
oh, okay. You got a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
RV or something, I guess, eh? Yeah.
Yeah, well, we got a big RV actually, it's 31 feet.
Oh, good.
So I pulled that with my truck and away we go.
Wow. What
So
kind
I
of
got to
truck?
go up to
What kind of truck do you have again?
well, there's a 150, F-150.
F-150. Okay, I don't know what that is, but
Ford. Yeah, it's Ford. Yeah,
oh, it's a Ford.
it's
Okay.
the most popular Ford truck. You know, it's like it's a millions of them around.
Oh, okay. So it's
You
a
know, yeah.
long-lasting one then. Good.
Well, well, it just barely makes this one here because this one here, I can pull up to 10,000 pounds with it, and the trailer is probably 9,000 something.
Oh, okay.
So it's just making it.
Oh, okay. Well,
And people ask me, so that you pull that with the 150?
wow.
Yeah, I do.
Amazing.
Yeah, it works.
You gotta.
Yeah. So we're on the way up to Williams Lake. Got to do some work in the property up there. I measured all the windows last time we were up here to put in because the old wood windows are
Oh, okay.
they're falling apart. So
Hmm.
I measured all of them and I ordered one window to make sure. So I'm taking that up to put it in to see if I measured right.
Hmm.
So test it first and then I get the other ones done.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, uh, well, of course, you probably listened to my message. So, I was just taking actually a photo of myself and my ID, just as you called, on my
Oh, I see. Yeah.
computer here. But
Yeah. I just saw your message and I called you. I didn't listen to your
yeah,
message.
so I don't want
Yeah.
to take up a lot of your time. But
Oh, it's okay. I'm off, so it's okay.
okay, that's good. So The thing that I'm getting held up on is that they want a TELUS bill or some kind of a bill, and here
Oh, you're
this,
talking about the KYC documents?
yeah, that's right.
Okay, yeah.
And here at the housing co-op, I don't get any hydro bills because they pay for it all.
Well, there's
And,
the phone bill. Phone bill or hard bill.
yeah, and so I went online to switch it to send it by mail to me, and they still haven't sent anything. And I'm thinking, oh, it's so hard to get through to TELUS.
You mean, oh, I see.
So
Well,
I,
if you go into a TELUS store, they could probably print you out the bill right there.
oh, that's an idea.
Probably. I think they can.
That would probably be a good idea
Yeah, right
because
on the spot.
I don't know. I was thinking could they possibly accept that I've got my income
Because
tax.
they don't take PDFs. They got to upgrade their system because I mean everything now is online, right? Most of the things. Anyway.
For sure.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I get a few more bills in my mail because I want it in my mail. I'd rather have their ink than my ink. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if I need to print it out. So, but I mean, eventually everything will be online. There won't be any paper bills at all.
Well, that's the case with me. It has been for some time, but I did go
Yeah,
online
yeah.
to try to get TELUS and switched it over to send by, but I don't know why they're taking all day or if they're just ignoring it.
Well, you can.
So,
I don't know if you so they won't accept the PDF. 'Cause
well,
you have
no,
to-
no, it's
you
not
have to
that.
Scan your regular bill.
Yeah, what they're requiring is, of course, the photograph of your, in my case,
Well,
I'm
they want to know
driver's
your
license.
address and you have services. To
Yeah, yeah. So I've got the photograph ready, but I don't have any kind of a bill because I don't get any in the mail. But I did get an income tax return, and I thought, why can't they accept that? But I don't know because there's no link to support there to ask them. So,
There's no link to an address there, probably. Is it? Well, it
well,
should be.
yeah. Well, I got to look around a bit more on their website. There might be a link to
But
support somewhere.
on the TELUS website, I think you can go in there and look at your previous bills,
Mm-hmm.
and they come up in PDF form. I'm going to just print it and then scan it.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, but they say on their
It comes up
requirements
as yeah.
that they won't. I can read it to you. I got the website right. What they say is, I'm just going right there now, and they say here a physical mailed utility bill, such as electricity, gas, or phone bill, telecommunication, not older than 6 months, that clearly states the name and company, name and address and date. No envelopes, no screenshots, or online bills
No,
will be
that's not a
accepted.
screenshot. Because when you go to their website, they might have previous bills or whatever, and then you go into there, and all their bills should be in PDF format.
Oh yeah, I can do that.
Then you can just save the PDF and send it back.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
It's exactly the same as the bill they sent you.
It didn't occur to me, but I know I can do that.
Yeah, it's exactly the same format and everything with the bill they sent you.
Oh, that's not a problem for me to go on TELUS and do.
Yeah.
I've done that many
Yeah.
times and doing my
Yeah,
income
right.
tax with all
Yeah,
kinds of
we
receipts.
should talk. When I get, have you looked at any of the latest information on what's happening?
No, I
Oh, interesting
haven't
thing.
because I've been working on it, and I won't go into a bunch of time on what I've been. That store thing, it didn't work out because of COVID partly, but because also I discovered in a way they pulled the wool over my eyes because you ended up having to deal with drop shippers that had high prices already from China, and they would lie and they would say it was from the U.S. when it wasn't. And I saw on the Kibo talk all of this trouble people were going through, and I decided, forget it.
So
I'm
in
not
other
going.
words,
It goes against
somebody's-
my conscience.
yeah.
It's like ripping
Somebody's
people
trying
off.
to copy Amazon probably or do their own thing. But because Amazon does the same thing, right?
Well,
But they,
basically
of course,
they're
they are a
using.
reputable
Yeah.
company, so far as I know.
Well, their
Yeah.
stores
But anyway,
using
anyway,
bad drop shippers. Yeah.
opening is that it's that well, just to make a short story, I should send you a video that, or you get the email from well, actually, Jeff Shukurov. Did you get the email from Jeff Shukurov?
Is he the fellow that we saw when you took me down to Richmond? Jeff who?
Jeff, yeah. He was one of the he was one of the he had a beard, I think.
Okay.
He was you were in Richmond, that's right.
Yeah.
And he was there with Greg. There's two Gregs. Greg is Greg Jerry and Greg Shukarov.
Oh, okay, Greg
Greg
Shukarov.
Shukarov was fiddling around with the mechanical stuff and all this kind of stuff.
Okay.
Anyway, he passed away last week
Oh, he did.
in a massive heart attack.
Oh
We
no.
were to the hospital and was dead on arrival.
Wow.
So it's a huge loss. I mean, he was a friend and super helpful in everything to the carrot bars, right? He was helpful with everybody.
He'll probably come to my
Wow.
mind. I can't place him right at the moment, but
Yeah.
I will think
You
about
probably
the
get
meeting.
emails from him because I gave him your email. So
Oh,
I would
did
imagine
you?
get, yeah, and also from Brian Olnick. You recognize that name, Brian Olnick?
No, I don't at the moment. No,
Okay, so maybe you don't get the emails then.
'Cause I
I
get so
want you
much
to get all
spam. Yeah.
yeah, I wanted you to get the information, so same as I get. But
Okay.
I can forward it some to you.
Certainly
But
you can.
you need to go through those things because I think it would be beneficial for you to actually buy some of those KBC coins.
Oh, I'd like
Because
to.
KBC coins, well, you should have done it. You know,
I know when they were cheaper,
when it
it's
was
probably
super
gone
low.
up by now.
Well, it's about 0038 now. They were down to
Half a cent at one time.
1.6, I think, at one point. Then it went up
Yeah.
to 6, then it went down again. But what's going on now, what's happening, that's gonna shoot up. But the thing is that when you trade them in for,
Hmm.
okay, the company gives you, there's something called, you know what a stable coin is?
Not really.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, there's some videos that will explain that. Basically, it's a stable coin is usually people that trade on crypto. Let's say use Bitcoin for an example.
Right.
They trade all through the week and then they go to take a few days off and they turn them into stable coin. Of course, there's a small fee to do that, but then it doesn't go up and down because the stable coin right now is linked to the USDT, which is about
Yeah.
$1.
Okay.
So they turn it into stable coin, and then when they want to pick it up again, they go on the other side and they keep trading.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's like a parking spot.
Oh, okay.
Well, what Carrot Bar has done, they have created a stable coin. It's the only other stable coin around, but it's based is actually connected to gold
Oh,
instead
okay.
of the dollar, which
Okay.
of course is much better. So when that becomes known, people are going to trade in that gold. So if you have KBC and you put it into this vault or whatever they have, that you turn it into.
Right. It's for
I
security.
don't have
Yeah.
all the numbers in my head. I just looked at it the other day. But anyway, you put it into that. Every time somebody uses your coins to
Yeah.
park their stuff with, you actually make money for life.
Oh, okay. That's good.
So that's one way to make money on gold. Now, of course, the more you have, the better it is. But if you look at it, so and then when people put into say the Carrot Bit, yeah, you didn't have anything there anyway.
Yeah. I haven't
The
bought
Carrot
anything
Bit,
yet. Yeah.
they have set up their own in-house Carrot Bit platform. So when you put your coins in there, they will give you in July. They will give you 25% bonus
Oh, wow. Okay.
on that, and then will be paid out according to the value of the KBC coin in October the 15th.
Oh, okay.
So, and then on July is 25%. August, I think it is down to 20 or 15. It goes down by increments down to whatever in October.
Okay.
And so now in July, I have to work with a few other people too, so that they understand what's going on. You can do it anytime in July, and you will get that bonus.
Okay.
So right now, even if it's still cheap, I mean, a third of a cent, right?
Hmm.
So that's quite cheap still. So I think.
But this information that you're telling me about,
$300.
yeah, that's all in these links from these people? What you're telling me about? All this that you're telling me about, is that information that's all in the links
It's all in
from
the
the
emails
emails?
that
Okay.
you have got from either Greg or Olnick, if you have got them.
Okay, I'll have to see because I don't recognize them.
What you need to do to get organized is to set up a filter so that you have everything. For example, if you want team training from corporate or from the team, then you just put the filter on those addresses, and that goes into one box. You don't have to look in between all the emails to see if you find it.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I have it even for different persons, and I get email from them, it goes into their email box, and I see it, it lights up. Right?
Yeah, I
So
understand.
I don't have to go in between my emails to look for things from Karatbars.
Right.
Everything corporate goes into a corporate box. Everything from everywhere else.
Are
Goes
you
into
using
theirs.
Thunderbird for that?
Yes, I'm using Thunderbird.
Oh, okay. Well, I can set up. I have
I'm so
Thunderbird.
used to Thunderbird now that the headache to change to anything else.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
'Cause
Yeah, I
I
use
got probably
Thunderbird as well.
150 mailboxes and different things, but I just scan it down, right, and I see what lights up, and I go in there and look at it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should start using their folder features there more. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's much faster to find things, and then you don't miss it.
I do filter things into folders, of course, through the
Yeah.
filters they have,
Yeah.
but not with the folder features.
So maybe the week after next we can get together and for coffee sometime we can go over a few things. But I'll send you something in the meantime. And,
Okay.
Yeah, get your KYC. Apparently, somebody said that you don't need the KYC to buy something now because of the situation. I don't know what they said, but it's good to have that in anyway because you need it for something.
Well, it still shows you need it on the website, from what I can tell. But yeah.
You needed to set up accounts for the Carrot Bit and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
it's the best to get it going.
Yeah. Well, you gave me the key to solving this
Yeah.
problem with
Well,
not getting
get
a
that-
bill, so
get
I'm
that
going to
done.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and get that done, and then we'll come back. I'll be back probably by the 20th, and then we have a few days we can go over these things
Okay, that's good.
and sort it out. Yeah.
Good. Okay, that sounds great, right?
Sure. Okay.
Well, you have a
Okay.
wonderful time up there in Kelowna.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I will. I hope.
I sure
Yeah,
hope so.
the clouds cleared now, but the sun went down behind the mountain, so it's.
We're hardly getting any fellowship as believers these days because of this crazy thing. But
Well, the thing is I think we need to get together, church or no church, I don't care. We need to get together somewhere.
yeah, oh, for sure. I
You know,
believe that.
So maybe in the
My
park
sis-
or maybe outside or whatever.
Yeah, my sister Frances was telling me their church up in Smithers. She's down here right now. I saw her today. That their church up in Smithers, they have outdoor services in a great big wilderness area, and they just all meet in the wilderness there, and they all are so many feet
Well,
apart.
that's-
And, yeah.
That's right. It depends on the size of the church. If you want to be totally legal or whatever, if it'd been up to me, I never would have closed the church in the first place. But anyway,
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
me. I'm a bit of a rebel. But the thing is that you can meet, according to regulation, you can meet less than 50, up to 50 people.
Yeah, for sure.
So I mean, a small church can probably still meet very easily.
Yeah, for
Group,
sure.
I mean, you can have a group in you can still have home groups. I mean, even folks want to have home groups open up. So,
For sure.
so I think that's it's just that it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's all about control.
Oh, it
Money,
is.
Yeah.
Power and control.
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt about it.
That's right.
Well, I don't want to
Anyway, so,
talk to.
So
yeah.
let's talk when I get home.
Yeah, that's
Call
good.
then, or call me on the 20th or so, and we'll get together.
Yeah, okay.
Sure.
Sounds good to me. Okay.
Take care,
Okay,
Dave.
Roy, you have a
Okay.
good evening.
Yeah.
God
Bye-bye.
bless you.
God
Bye.
bless you.
Yeah,
Bye.
bye. Okay, I phoned him because I was having a
Yeah.
problem with getting my ID up there, and he told me it's something I never thought of, so I can get that
That's
done. Because I can't get a TELUS bill in the mail, and that's holding me up. So he said, but you can go online and download the PDF file. I never thought of that. So, of a TELUS bill, and then I can send it, upload it to them, and they have all the ID they need.
Really?
Yeah.
To a TELUS bill. Good enough
Well,
for
they
identification?
need a picture of me holding this
Uh-huh.
in color. So I might have you take a picture with my camera or my camera on my phone,
Mhm.
because I just noticed they said you can't do a screenshot, and I just thought I could take a screenshot from my video of it.
Anyway, but you can do it through your phone.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
and then I can, and then the other thing is, I need to get either a TELUS bill or something. So I'll go onto TELUS and download the most recent bill in PDF format, and that'll solve that.
Mhm.
And those are the two things I need to do.
That's all you need.
Upload them to their site so they
So
have,
that's all, the only
so
two
they can
things you
approve
need
me.
for ID.
Otherwise, I can't buy any gold or nothing.
Buying gold, how much does that cost, and how much are you putting into?
They're very small units, so you can buy it at a very low price. Yeah.
Really? How much are you going to put into it?
I don't know yet. I haven't figured that out. But he's going to talk to me on the 20th and go over a lot of the things that are more complicated, I guess, because it sounds to me like it's.
The thing is, I'd like to get in on it
Oh,
within
of course
the
you
month of
can.
July, because he was saying something about, and if I'm getting an operation, I need to do it beforehand, because you know what I mean? Or I'll miss out. That July thing sounds great. Sounds really good.
Well, he was mentioning just that if you buy these coins, they're going to go up. A certain kind of coin that's called a stable coin, which I don't know a lot about. That they're going to go up with a 20% bonus in July and so on. And right now it's about 3.8 cents or something. I forget what it is. It used to be half a cent. But
What do you mean?
gold coins.
Gold
But
coin?
these
that
are
only
special
cost a half a
stable
cent?
coins. I don't know much about it right now, so I can't really give you accurate.
That doesn't sound
understanding
right.
of it.
Only
But
a
the,
gold coin that only
there's
costs
special
a half
kind
a
of
cent.
coins that are called stable coins that traders use with Bitcoin and with other trading. But this company has created a stable coin that's in gold, and it's the first one that's in gold.
And it's only half a cent? That's hard to believe.
Oh, I don't know. I'm going to
Yeah.
have to figure out all
Yeah.
of that. But I got to get my ID up there. I can't do any, or you join, you can't get anything, right?
Well, can I
So-
join and put my ID
Yeah,
up there
sure you
too?
can. You can sign.
Let's do that. Because I don't know when I'm going to the hospital and I could miss out on things.
Yeah,
Especially this July thing, because that's over at the end of July, right?
yeah, for sure.
So,
Sure you can. And then you're a very good person for talking to others and selling things. So you probably get a lot of people to sign up if you
I'd
just
have to really
send
understand
them
it,
the-
though.
well,
To
you
do
have to
that,
s-
I would have to understand.
you have to just send them a link in the email to the video, and once they watch the video, they'll
Oh,
say,
yeah.
"Yes, I like this." You know,
Mhm.
you can get your sister signed up and others, whatever you want.
Forget about my sister.
Well, whoever you choose.
You just really want to.
Oh, I don't care about your
Yeah.
sister. She's not an issue to me at all. I mean, I'm not interested in your sister one bit. Not after you told me how she argues with you and trains you. No, I wouldn't want that at all.
I'm praying for her, but, you know, she's got to get. She's a big problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
She had a really good friend, a sister in the Lord, just a beautiful friend. And,
Ruined it? Maybe.
huh? Oh, she ruined it all right. Like, she had, and her friend had a beautiful family. And I said to her friend, I said, you're just about pretty much the first person I've ever met that I didn't know. And my sister and her friends instantly hate me. And I said, I'm surprised that you
Oh,
liked
my
me.
battery's low again. Shoot.
I said to her, I'm surprised you liked me. And she said, I know exactly what Jillian is like. That's what she told me, and I know exactly what my family thinks she's crazy.
Your family thinks she's crazy. Oh, yeah.
Her family thinks so. And she's got a beautiful family. But anyway, she's a beautiful.
So what I'm going to do
But I
quickly.
said to her, I can't help but ask you. I said, because I'm shocked that, you know, you like me, because people that know her and instantly.
Okay, I'm not taking a picture of you. I'm just seeing if it works.
Yeah, don't take a picture of me.
Okay, that's shade. So if you can just hold this way.
Yeah.
And see where I am. What I have to do is
I've
hold
got
this
my glasses on.
really close so they can read it with my face.
Right now, you want me to? Can I run to the bathroom first? Cause
Sure,
I
sure.
didn't want to make any noise. I was trying to hear whatever this guy had to say, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's.
So now you know how to get me in too. Then to sign me up too. Then you're saying.
Well, yeah.
And okay, so. All right.
What's your IDs there then? You could tell people and get them signed up. And I got to find out what's the best way of doing that. They have different tools you can use.
Excuse me. Okay. Yeah, run to the bathroom and then I'll do that for you.
First one Margareta tries to sign up is Donald Trump. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sure Donald Trump is probably already in it.
Yeah, it's possible. Oh boy, I better get my battery charged here. And then I should be having a meal soon. Oh, it's already 8 o'clock. I don't believe it. I gotta have my meal. But open air church services. That's all the sound. I don't even see this. Oh well. I don't want it. Forget it. going on here? Oh, there we go. Oh boy, we got more than you know. So I got to use the washroom too really bad, right? So not that bad, but some. Yeah, I gotta go use the washroom right now too. Guess I'll take my phone in case someone calls me. Just plug it for the moment. Oops, can't go that way, I'm blocked. Okay. Can't go this way, I'm blocked.
I need a little something. I'm gonna take a half one. Okay.
Do your thing. I do my thing. You do your thing. I do my thing. Okay.
You didn't drink any of my juice, did you?
Oh yeah.
Aw, why?
Because I'm gonna make more, so what's the point? And it was
Well,
all ju-
cause that's what I'm trying to.
well, you just kept never drinking.
No, I was drinking it. I started. David, don't do that to me. That's a little,
Well,
only little bit again. I finally go to drink it
I
and I
said
miss out
to-
on it again.
I said to myself, I'm gonna make it today anyhow, so she'll have more.
Well,
juice.
make me two then instead of
No,
one.
I'm not.
Well, that was mean.
Oh, that wasn't me.
Yeah, it is.
Well,
That's the only
sit
juice I
still.
get. Period. End of story. Come on. You know really.
Well, don't worry, you'll get more. I've been quite generous to give you that all the time.
I know, but it's the only. Come on, it's the only I get. And I wanted to drink it so bad. And I did drink some, but then I knew it was. What the heck? I said I didn't drink that much. I went for more because I'm so tired today, right?
Yeah.
No energy, man. Just really bad.
I tell you what, if you want raw juice, I bought some today at the health food store. And you can have some, and I can have some.
Thanks. I really need some. I have to get.
Where did I put it?
Oh.
Did I not bring it in? Oh, I might have left it in the car. I think I did. I just brought in the cattle and I forgot about the other bag.
Go run and grab it. I'm gonna drink some to wake me up because I got more Bible studying to do and praying to do, and I need to wake up.
yourself a cup
Okay.
too.
Thank you.
It's brown vegetable juice.
I'm getting right out of your way here.
You don't-
Probably gonna fix your meal.
Judy. Oh boy. So. I guess I'll take those light bulbs off. I don't need them on. I don't need to have it on super bright like that now. So I'm not planning to do a video.
Do you want me to take your picture, right?
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, you don't have to do it right away.
Okay, good. And I'm gonna go back and
Yeah, you can do that. I'm gonna just turn on what's happening in the world, or maybe it's supernatural or something, you know, whatever God wants. I'm here to be in love with the Lord, that's all. I'm in love with Jesus. Israel News. Fox News Live. I don't know. See what's on YouTube, I guess. No, I think so. Oh, it's the same old stuff on here. They don't even change it on the weekend. Oh well, forget it then. I wonder about his supernatural, what they got. Things are loading kind of slow. I wonder why. Normally it doesn't take that slow. I guess that's the most recent one. I don't know. Okay, Lord. There's that. I think other than that, there's not much of it. Let's see. For crying out loud, you get the wrong one there. Oh, it's Amazon.com. How can that be? I didn't ask for that. What's Amazon.com? Yeah, that's the wrong one. How come that's the link on there? Oh, here's another. So you can rent these videos for $4.95.
David, I'm going to take my share of these tomorrow, okay?
Yeah.
So I have some energy tomorrow.
We
'Cause all
know
day
much.
today I had no energy.
What's
It was
that?
terrible. No energy, just zero energy.
Yeah.
Well, so
So one can watch the patterns of evidence for $4.95. I don't know if you want
wow.
to look at that.
But I thought we saw that one. There's two different
No,
ones.
we didn't see any of these.
Oh, I would love to see that for $5. That's me.
$4.95.
That's a really good deal.
It's probably Canadian because I think I'm on the Canadians.
And we can watch it on your big
Oh
screen
no, no,
here,
it's not
right?
Canadian. Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, that would be
Cord.
great, David. I'd love to.
But this has 6 videos. That's an awful lot.
For only that much?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's really cheap. So,
Otherwise, you buy them, but I don't want to buy them.
what do you mean buy them?
You can buy them so that you don't have to rent them. You know the difference.
Oh, yeah, okay. I understand.
Yeah.
You don't have to get pissed off
No,
at
I'm
me about
not.
it. Okay, so, but let's watch it, tomorrow because
Exodus Digital. 11
because
videos.
my time's all tied up right now. I didn't know we were going to watch this, but maybe we can watch it
Well,
Tuesday.
I can't watch it on the weekdays. No, I got
We'll
too
watch
much
it
I'm
on
doing.
Sunday then. Coming Sunday.
Well, this is Sunday.
No, but I don't have the time to
Well,
do it today.
it's-
I didn't know, David. Come on.
When you rent them, you can rent them for a period of time, so don't worry about it.
Well, I really like to see it, you know. Oh, you mean I can
If I want to see it
watch
now,
it in the morning then?
I don't think I want to see it now necessarily. Anyhow, just don't have
At
like
the
you.
moment, I don't want to see it.
But I can do that
But it'd be nice to watch them together.
because there's nothing on the news. Well, I suppose I can go live stream. Okay.
I mean, I'd rather watch it with you than without you.
Yeah, I understand. I likewise.
I can't do it tonight if I was...
That's okay.
Justice and Antitrust Division, and yet when it comes to the teaching of our children, we've got this iron-fisted control over these school systems, and I'm not sure how else we can break through it. I mean, as you quote Biden, the teachers' unions have the run of the place.
Yes. Unfortunately, I'm not a legal authority, but I believe some years ago there was a law, I mean, maybe a century or more ago, that said that the unions are not for legal purposes,
That's
conspiracy and restraint of trade. And so that way it's not going to go. But if they would just make the charter schools have equal treatment, that is, when there are students, you provide classrooms for them. In New York City, for example, study recent years shows that there are 212 public schools that are half empty, and yet the charter school people are having a terrible time to get into those places because all kinds of roadblocks are put up. In some parts of the country, empty schoolhouses have been demolished to make sure that charter schools can't get in there.
There just needs to be a way to bring a liberty agenda agenda, you know, some kind of agenda into the inner cities that are controlled by these parties and controlled by these forces for half a century. And you're right about the antitrust laws. The unions were specifically exempted. I just think they got to update them to reality of what's going on in this country today. When we return, isn't it true, Dr. Saul, that we also have towns and states passing legislation to make it more and more difficult as a fundamental legal matter to have competition in charter schools? We'll be right back.
Guys, times are tough, but Force Factory's Test X180 can help us man up America by boosting total testosterone, build muscle, fuel desire, and improve performance. Get Test X180 from Force Factor, the #1 fastest growing men's health brand at Walmart.
Bottom line is, moms love that Land of Frost premium sliced meats have no byproducts.
Baloney!
Let's join the call.
Hey, Baloney here.
I thought this was a no byproducts call.
Land of Frost Premium.
I don't listen to advertising. Most of it's just crap. Okay, I guess I'll just have some soup.
Okay, can I get you to call my phone, David?
Call your phone?
Yeah, I don't know.
You like talking to me on the phone a lot, don't you, Margaret?
I guess so, just to call my phone. Yeah.
Okay, I do it for you.
Thank you.
Offer and offer.
Oh, I got it. I found it, David.
Okay, thank you. Then I don't have to call you. That's very good. Very good.
Coco. I don't think I've gone cuckoo yet. I haven't had any soup yet. Oh, I got a lot of family soup. I prefer soup. I do. was soup. Darn, it's not soup. Oh well, I'll have chili then. I wasn't planning to have chili. Somehow I got mixed up.
basics, that's not it. You got to teach the social impact, social activism, the effects of math and social studies on the community, and you see that the consequences of that over the last century. And it's getting worse. It's not getting better. And he had enormous influence, as you know. So my question to you is, charter schools versus government or public schools, are charter schools more focused on getting kids to learn the basics in literature and English and mathematics and science, as opposed to the public schools that are really into this social activism stuff?
Oh, yes, yes. And in fact, that's one of the things that the critics complain of. In California, there were some anti-charter school laws passed last year that will force the charter schools to essentially carry indoctrination courses. And the content of those courses will be specified. In California, in recent years, they've already mandated that the charter schools teach what is called sex education, but what is really simply an indoctrination in what are thought to be the best attitudes or the more advanced attitudes towards sex. And this is to be taught at an early age and in ways that are absolutely grotesque in some cases.
And how about patriotism? And by patriotism, I mean basic allegiance to the country. I mean, everybody doesn't have to agree on everything, and everybody knows history's full of positives and negatives, but I get the sense, particularly in the last several months, and I think a lot of the audience does too, that a lot of the hostility towards the country, towards the founders, towards the founding documents and so forth, that the breeding grounds for this is in public education.
Absolutely. If you're serious about mathematics, the English language, science, things like that, you really cannot squander the time of school children on these other adventures in indoctrination, almost regardless of what the indoctrination is. Because especially with kids from low-income areas where the parents may not have as much education as some other people in other parts of the society, these students need a real grounding. And many of these charter schools, that's what they get. But now, and also they have to have behavioral standards. You can't teach amid bedlam in the schools. In California last year, they passed incredible laws which specify that students in the early grades cannot be suspended for disrupting classes or the activities of the school. And so what you're saying is you're licensing troublemaking. And the reason for doing so is simply that this is one of many ways that charter schools can be kept from becoming so much better than the traditional public schools. It would be a lot harder to raise the traditional public schools up to the level of the charter schools, but it's a lot easier to bring the charter schools down to the level of the traditional public schools.
Yeah, let me ask you a broader question. I mean, it seems to me, and when we were raising our kids too, you better damn well look at the textbooks that your kids have. You better look at the lesson plans. You better question them about what they're learning in the classroom when they go to these public schools. As parents, not just keep funding the increases for teachers and God knows what else goes on in these public classrooms. In other words, parents need to be active, not active as captured activists on behalf of the school system, but active on behalf of their children and find out what the world's going on in these classrooms and make noise when they find out that their kids are being brainwashed. I don't see enough of that. Do you?
No. I think competition would take care of a lot of that. And among the things that parents who send their kids to charter schools say is, first of all, that the kids are safer there, physically safer. And they learn good behavior and so on. And so you have to have all those things. Then that will take care of itself. Most of the parents are going to move their kids, and when they're in these neighborhoods where that's a real problem, they're going to move their kids out of the traditional public schools, which is why there are so many devious ways that are used to keep those kids from being able to transfer.
I think there needs to be a total rethinking of public education. And one of the areas, as you point out, is competition, charter schools and other types of schools, private schools, parochial schools, voucher systems, whatever you can put into the system to give children opportunities and parents opportunities. But this whole notion that you hear all the time, well, the teachers aren't paid enough, well, the school district doesn't have enough money, well, we need to build new schools. And everybody buys into this because they think that's going to improve quality of education. Maybe it's time for people in communities to say, no, we demand choices, we demand alternatives, and otherwise we believe in, you want to defund the cops? How about we start defunding the school systems unless they're responsive to us? What do you think about that?
I think it's a good idea. Well, we don't have to worry about that, for example, in supermarkets. The public doesn't have to worry about what this supermarket does or that supermarket does. They go to the supermarket that satisfies them, and that accomplishes the purpose. So that you find, the quality of the is kept up just by the competition. But the teachers and the institutions are so protected from any hint of competition that this is why they can get away with running the institutions for their benefit rather than for the benefit of the students.
When we return, I want to ask you this question. We're talking mostly here about the inner cities. We're talking mostly here about minority students, not exclusively, but mostly. Is the continued opposition to allowing freedom of choice to go to better schools and get a better education in a safer environment, is that becoming a matter of bigotry? I'm just curious to know what you think about that. We'll be right back.
I am totally blind, and Non-24 can throw my days and nights out of sync, keeping me from the things I love to do. Talk to your doctor and call 844-214-2424.
When you take a statin drug to reduce cholesterol, it can also deplete your CoQ10 levels. I recommend Cunol CoQ10 to help restore this important heart health nutrient. Cunol is the brand I recommend considering along with your statin medication.
It's not just fund fees that matter, fund taxes matter too. Every time a fund manager sells a stock, it triggers a tax liability for you. And the higher the turnover, the more you have to pay in taxes every year. And here's the worst part. Because of high turnover, you actually might have to pay taxes even if the fund itself loses money. That's why you want to own low turnover funds whenever possible. The less you pay in fund fees, the less you pay in taxes, the more wealth you can accumulate.
If you struggled to lose weight, you might think you were born with a slow metabolism. That's exactly what these people thought. But the truth is,
shut up, I don't want to hear your advertising. Not my cup of tea right now. Not your cup of tea. Now, what happened to my little thing that I use? Now,
have to use that big one, which is a pain in the butt. Or I can find it. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna ask her what she wants for this. Just disappear. You know that metal filtered gasket I have for Steve? Steve with the small bottle. Do you happen to know where it is? Yeah. Okay, we're in the stove. Okay. We're in the stove. Okay. Yeah, I did. Okay. No, I can't find it. Or it's just disappeared, you know? There's no reason for that to happen. So I'll have to use the bigger one. Let me get you out. It's not there. Can't see it anywhere. Boy, that makes me mad. It just disappeared. I always keep it in the same spot and it's not there. Oh, I found it. I found it. Okay. Good. Now we're in business.
Other activities, no competition. Whether it's schooling, no competition. Even when you get to universities and colleges, of which there's obviously thousands, they demand adherence to an ideology. They demand adherence to a set of standards. And free speech, freedom of association, depending on who's doing the speaking and who's doing the associating, is supported or opposed. Isn't this a problem across the board when it comes to the left?
Oh, absolutely. And in my career, I have seen it develop. I mean, when I went to teaching at Cornell in 1965, we had people of all kinds of persuasions just in the economic department. When I left there was an orthodoxy that was put in there. And if you didn't agree with it, you were just out of luck in terms of your career. I saw one wonderful young woman, courageous, who stood up for the standards and the academic standards and behavioral standards. They made it impossible. They not only fired her, they made it impossible for her to get another job anywhere else.
And this is happening in an extreme way right now as a result of last month with Antifa, with Black Lives Matter. We see it happening across our culture and across our society. We'll be right back.
It only takes a second for an everyday item to become dangerous. Tide Pod's Child Guard Pack helps keep your laundry packs in a safe place and your child safer. To close, twist until it clicks. Tide Pod's Child Guard Packaging.
You look great. You look great too. 2 days using Carousel and I started to look better. Me too.
Now Carousel starts improving the appearance of fungus-damaged toenails in just 2 days.
That's why we look so good.
Only 2 days, Carousel.
The ADT Yard Sign stands watch over your home and family with tested, trusted 24/7 protection.
Go on to hear advertising. Help it. How would you see this? I'll put this on the other side. Let me put that in later. That's all you need to do. Heavenly Father, I thank you for this food and ask that you would bless it. Give it health and glory in Jesus' name.
Saul, charter schools and their enemies. Now, Dr. Saul, what are the dangers charter schools face as we go ahead?
All across the country, there are attempts to force charter schools to follow rules that will make it difficult, if not impossible, for them to maintain the quality they already have. I've mentioned in California where you simply cannot suspend students for doing things for which they at one time would have been expelled. And in New York, for example, I was painfully surprised to discover that the KIPP charter schools, which are the largest chain of charter schools in the country, are now have gotten rid of their motto, which says, be nice, pay attention, and so forth. And that's considered politically incorrect because it suggests that the problems of the minority students is not systemic racism and things like that. And so over the past year or so, they've been talking more and more in the language of the political left. They have fine schools in most cases, but the question is how long can that continue? They don't understand the dangers when you allow internal changes and external obstacles to pile up, because that means that even though the charter schools may survive as institutions, they may not survive as excellent institutions, which is what matters for the kids. Something similar happened for very different reasons to a black high school, Dunbar High School in Washington, which for more than 70 years had outstanding educational outcomes. And they changed this one thing. They changed it to becoming a neighborhood school rather than a school that could draw upon students from all over the city. And just that one fact caused them in a short period of time to go from a school where 81%, this was an all-black school, 81% of the students went on to college, which at that time, 1953, was a higher percentage than for any public high school, black or white, in the city of Washington. Just by 1960, only 20% were going on to college. And today, it is one of the worst high schools in its ward. So it's not a matter of the charter schools surviving as institutions. It's the educational quality surviving, and that's what the enemies of the charter schools are undermining.
It never surprises me the level of deviousness on the left and in the bureaucracy, because what you're describing there is just destroying these institutions from within. If you can't beat them, then devour them.
Yes.
And you're right, that's very sinister, and it is a big problem. Well, I want to thank you for writing this magnificent book, Charter Schools and Their Enemies. I want to strongly encourage the audience to get a copy of this, whether you have kids or not, whether you live in the inner cities or not. This lays out the case. And I want to thank you also for a career that has influenced so many of us in the cause of liberty. I wouldn't be doing what I am today, in part, if it wasn't for watching you and reading your books and all the things you've done for this country. So I want to thank you, Dr. Thomas Sowell.
Thank you very much.
All right, take care of yourself. And we'll be right back.
showing that.
And then yet we have this issue. Basic education, core education, learning arithmetic and literature and English and science and history, the things that are needed to get along in society and to assimilate into this culture. And what do we have? We have a Democrat Party, a National Education Association, an American Federation for Teachers, this conglomerate of an effective monopoly that controls our cities and basically controls all education, but particularly the cities where many people are too poor and they're stuck and they're told you're going to go to that government facility down the street, whether or not your kid is threatened, whether it is safe, whether they're getting educated, whether or not you like it. In America, what we need is a liberty agenda. What we need is a constitutional agenda. What we need is a true two-party system in our inner cities. And we need cops to protect our people. We need capitalism to create wealth. We need all the things that exist in the rest of the country that are applied to the inner cities that are run by the Democrats and their surrogates. Joe Biden is running on Bernie Sanders' agenda. That's the anti-liberty, anti-choice agenda, the agenda of the iron fist. Think about it. I'll see you next time on Life, Liberty, and Levin.
Evening, everyone. Welcome to The Next Revolution. I'm Steve Hilton, and this is the home of positive populism, pro-worker, pro-family, pro-community, and always pro-America. Joining us for the hour, Sarah Carter and Jason Chaffetz. Tonight, Congressman Jim Banks will be here on reopening schools. We've got Joe Biden's loony left policy platform and your feedback to the president after our call last week for positive patriotism. But first, coronavirus misinformation is now seriously hurting America as the establishment media hypes case numbers as the only measure.
Today, the country recorded the most new cases in a single day, 58,699. Shameful. It feels like that we're back at the beginning of this pandemic.
What are you talking about? As you open up, cases go up. You think cases aren't going up in other countries as they reopen? Of course they are. They're just not testing asymptomatic people on the scale we are here. as you open up, of course, hospitalizations go up. Sick people kept out of hospitals because of the shutdowns, now finally getting treated. And of course, if you jump overnight to the final stage of all the reopening plans, large gatherings, you get a massive increase in cases. Now, who did that? Who gave the go-ahead for large gatherings long before the virus was under control? No, not the evil Trump. It was you, Bill de Blasio. It was you, Eric Garcetti. It was you, Gretchen Whitmer, and all the rest around the country, cheered on by 1,000 doctors and every two-faced cynical liar on CNN and MSNBC. When it's a large gathering for Trump in, I don't know, Tulsa, to pick a random example, that's an irresponsible health risk that will send cases skyrocketing. But when it's a large gathering for police reform, which, as you know, I support, obviously, that's got nothing to do with cases rising. I mean, what possible connection could there be between large gatherings of young people and coronavirus spreading amongst young people? But for the media, facts are just lies.
We are so deep down into a well of lies, it is hard to even realize how dark this is.
Dark? It's totally Orwellian. Anderson Cooper literally calls his lying rants keeping them honest. I don't know if it's even worth trying to keep him honest. After all, he's now effectively on Joe Biden's campaign staff. But just in case, here goes. The one measure you'll never see on CNN or MSNBC is the only one that really matters. The only one that is actually a fair description of what's going on. And that is deaths per capita. Here's the actual data. The UK, Spain, Italy, and France, not to mention Belgium and a few others, those countries are all doing worse than we are in America. Andrew Cuomo's New York, fawningly praised by the idiots in the media, is nearly 10 times worse than Ron DeSantis' Florida. The supposed disaster zones of Arizona and Texas also at the bottom of the list. But sure, blame Trump and Republican governors for the worst outbreaks by far. And blame him too, even when what he says is what an actual doctor says. 99% of people who get infected, says Dr. Scott Atlas, in fact have no significant problem with the infection. And who really has no significant problem with the infection? Children. Children under 18 make up 5.9% of US cases, and children under 14 just 0.03% of deaths. Yet still we see officials across the country debating whether to reopen schools in the fall. The risk to children from coronavirus is a fraction of the risk from flu every single year. No one ever talked about closing schools for that. People say, okay, children may not get seriously ill from this virus, but they might pass it on to their families. Really? In one study, quote, "We have not found a single instance of a child infecting parents." They lecture us about contact tracing. Well, they did it for a boy with coronavirus. He came into contact with 172 classmates and teachers while symptomatic and didn't transmit the disease to any of them, not one out of 172 people. In Switzerland, the country's head of infectious disease says, scientists, quote, now know young children don't transmit the virus. Because of all this, countless other countries, starting with Denmark, had already begun reopening schools before the summer break. When the president pointed that out this week, the idiot said, but we have thousands of new cases a day and Denmark doesn't. But Denmark reopened schools months ago. If you equalize for population size and testing rates, there's nothing like the difference in case numbers between the US now and Denmark then. And the data shows that reopening schools didn't worsen their outbreak at all. And yet here in America, summer camps are closed and school plans are in doubt. This is not safe. It's harming our children. Almost a third of parents say their children's emotional or mental health is suffering. Another third worry that it'll start hurting their children soon. It's hurting their education and their future prospects too. The evidence is piling up that remote learning doesn't work, especially for the poorest families and those in rural areas with unreliable internet. And perhaps worst of all, we're seeing reports of a rise in child abuse. Beyond the impact on children, there's the impact on our economy. If kids can't go to school, parents can't go to work. Here's a farmer from Minnesota this week.
The really big question mark right now is whether there'll be school here this fall, because the harvest season, almost more than planting, is all hands on deck. That would be really, really difficult to manage both kids with no childcare.
And by the way, schools open 1 day a week or 3 days a week or in the morning or the afternoon or whatever other pseudo-scientific bureaucratic claptrap they come up with. It's still a disaster. Responding to New York's 1 to 3 day a week plan, the leading employers group was crystal clear. People will not be able to go back to work. Australia gets all this. Its deputy chief medical officer said the evidence does not support avoiding classroom learning as a means to control COVID. In Canada, they get all this. Experts at a Toronto Children's Hospital called for opening schools with no restrictions. Masks, they say, if worn incorrectly, it could lead to increased risk of infection, and it's not practical for a child to wear a mask properly for the duration of a school day. Strict physical distancing, they say, should not be emphasized to children in the school setting as it is not practical and could cause significant psychological harm. In line with all those medical experts, President Trump gets all this.
We're very much going to put pressure on governors and everybody else to open the schools, to get them open. And it's very important. It's very important for our country. It's very important for the well-being of the student and the parents.
But with all this damage, all this pain, and all this scientific evidence, still there isn't a clear back-to-school instruction from the CDC, from the people we're told to trust. Still, they witter on about an abundance of caution and risk aversion. Still, they trot out their weasel words to cover their you-know-what. Here's Dr. Fauci this week.
The broad approach would be, obviously, but paying attention to the safety of the children, which is always paramount, but within the context of doing whatever you can to safeguard the health and the welfare of the children, we should try to get the schools open.
In Denmark, they're definitive. In Australia, in Canada, in England, in Switzerland, in Iceland, for goodness sake. Why is our own CDC, preposterously praised by the media as the best public health agency in the world, still hemming and hawing on these vital questions when other countries have done the research and published clear conclusions? What have you been doing, Dr. Redfield? You've had January, February, March, April, May, June. No wonder the president is forcing the pace. Of course he's right to use the leverage of federal money, but frankly, that is a small proportion. And by the way, rightly so. We believe in decentralization on this show, and we believe above all in people power. It's time to use it over this school's fiasco. If your child's school won't open this fall, demand your money back so you can find an alternative. It's your child, it's your tax dollars. Why should you pay for a service you're not getting? That's our new campaign. Reopen schools or give me my school money back. Take it to the courts. We'll show you how later tonight with the help of Jay Sekulo's ACLJ. Fight for your rights and your money. Tell your school board, tell your mayor, tell your council, tell your governor, if you won't open my child's school, I want my school money back. Stand up to these bureaucrats. Get it going. Share this message. And to do that, please follow us at Steve Hilton X and at NextRevFNC. All right, joining me now to react after I've calmed down, Fox News contributor and host of the Sarah Carter Show podcast, Sarah Carter, along with the author of Power Grab, former Utah Congressman and Fox News contributor Jason Chaffetz. Sarah, I mean, we've talked about this before. It's just astonishing to me with all this evidence that there's any kind of debate about reopening schools. It should have been the first thing we reopened, no?
Oh, absolutely. And we also see the negative impact of not reopening it on our children. But nobody's talking about that, particularly on the left or the Democrats. You know, it's really sad, Steve, that they are using our children as like a political football in this. And it's really damaging. I was talking to moms this weekend over the 4th of July. I was in Fairfax County District here in Virginia, where everybody's been discussing because they're going to do this like rotating school year in the fall where they're going to keep kids in 2 days, out 3 days. Parents are frustrated. They don't know how those that still have their jobs, how they're going to hold on to their jobs, how they're going to teach their children. I'm in the same boat. I have a 7-year-old. She's going into 3rd grade. We're facing the same challenges here. And we know that the best thing for them, let us make our own decisions for our children. We understand. We've seen the evidence, just as you've listed. I don't need to relist it. Studies all over the world that show children are not transmitting the disease. Let us get our children in classrooms. And if the teachers are worried, then let the teachers teach remotely into those classrooms and keep younger teachers in those classrooms that can keep our kids on a balanced level. Find another way around this. Look outside, think outside of the box, and let's move forward as a country.
Exactly right. So, Jason, I'd love your take on the kind of policy idea I put out there. I think I'm just parents are feeling sick of not being able to do anything. They feel so powerless. What I wanted to do there is turn the school vouchers argument on its head in a way. Don't wait for your local government or whoever it is to give you the vouchers. Demand the vouchers. Demand your money back. What do you think of that?
No, I like it. I like it a lot. I come from a place that says there shouldn't even be a federal Department of Education. I love education so much that I don't think there should be a federal Department of Education. But nevertheless, the money should follow the kids. And you're right. If they're not going to open the schools, then get your money back and go to a charter school or something else. But you know what? The liberals and the Democrats, like one of the school issues that's happening out in California, one of the unions is saying, look, we're not going to open the schools unless you defund the police and get rid of charter schools. Because what happens is the Democrats leverage these types of crises, and they do it such to try to get and move forward their political agenda. So there's some ulterior motives too. But Steve, you've got to get the kids back to school. It's best for everyone.
Exactly. Sarah, just a quick thought there on the politics of this. How do you think it's going to play out?
Well, I think President Trump is right on the money, and I think he needs to stick with that. I mean, we're looking at a November election. Parents all across the country, Steve, are frantically trying to get answers. I think the one thing the White House needs to do is come out, be very clear-cut, talk about these studies, lay it all out as they have been doing, as Betsy DeVos has been doing as well, and move forward. Parents are going to do the right thing. And I think you're 100% right about the tax situation. And parents should have the right to choose. We should not be forced. The majority of these schools that we're teaching remotely, we're not doing a good job. So we have the right to give our children the best education possible.
Yes.
And they can't hold us hostage.
Yes, great. We love it. We're all fired up. All right, we're going to have lots more from Sarah and Jason later on. But now let's get the perspective from Congress. Earlier, I talked with Indiana Congressman Jim Banks about the bill he's introduced to reopen our schools. Take a look. Congressman, great to see you. We've been through the arguments about why it's so important for schools to reopen properly in the fall. The question is, how do we make that happen? You've got a bill designed to try and make that happen. Can you just talk us through how that would work?
Yeah, Steve, the Reopen Our Schools Act is simple. It provides schools with what they're asking for, liability protections, but at the same time, it prevents federal funding to going to schools who don't reopen in the fall. Also, I carve out a opportunity for schools to seek a waiver through the Federal Department of Education if they have unique circumstances. But Steve, across the board, what I'm hearing from schools in my district and throughout America is there is a safe and responsible way to get this done. Over 80% of parents who are surveyed in almost every school district in my district tell schools that they want their kids to go back to the classroom 5 days a week. But to give an option to the rest of those students or families for a virtual option, that's the way most schools are going. But you still have school districts like in New York and California who are failing to provide the leadership at all to get their schools reopened. And if they don't, there should be repercussions for that. We should look at withholding federal funding, grants like for school safety, where you have to ask the question, why does a school need a school safety federal grant if they don't reopen their doors in the fall? That's the question that my bill, the Reopen Our Schools Act, is asking.
Mm-hmm. Great. Let's just look at the different parts of that. First of all, on the funding, that's something the President has been talking about this week as well. I just want to be clear, what's the mechanism for withholding funding? Is it something that resides with the President, the executive branch, Betsy DeVos, and the Department? What's the role of Congress? How do those fit together?
Yeah, Steve gets into a larger conversation that I love to have about why we have a federal Department of Education to begin with. But we do,
Yes.
and a big part of the funding that is funneled through the federal Department of Education goes to schools at the state and local level through federal grants. Now, you and I both know that the vast majority of funding for our schools comes from state and local taxes, but the growing role of the federal government in education means more and more federal grants involved. In fact, we've surveyed a number of these grants and looked at the vast amount of dollars that flow from the federal government to schools through federal grants, and it is an endless list of federal grants. So the mechanism that the federal government has in entering in and wading into this discussion is to ask the question, if schools don't reopen in the fall, why do they need access to all of these federal funds? Now, again, most of the dollars at risk that the schools need to reopen or be functioning at all come from state and local governments. And I'll point to Florida as an example of a state that the governor of Florida has mandated that every school will reopen in the fall 5 days a week, and that their state funding will be at risk if they don't. I want to have the same conversation at the federal level related to federal grants.
So let's just look at the, so actually before we move on to that, I just want to be really clear. So is it the case that your bill would require the federal government to do this? Is that how that would work?
Well, my bill states that if a school doesn't go back to in the classroom instruction as they provided it before COVID-19, then they would potentially risk federal funding grants. They could petition the Secretary of Education under unique circumstances to provide those federal grants. But taxpayers and parents are asking the question and begging to know the answer to that question. If a school doesn't reopen and educate my child, which I'm paying taxpayer dollars so that they can do that, then why should those schools receive those funds?
Well, I totally agree with that point. I'm sure many watching will as well. Congressman, thank you so much for your work on this. I think we're all cheering you on. Also, just want to note you do fantastic work on China, and hope we can get you on to talk about that at some point in the near future. Good to see you tonight.
Thank you, Steve. Good to be with you.
All right, coming up, the media is calling Biden's new economic plan populist. No, it's not. We'll explain what it really is next.
And then what happened, Daddy?
Well, see this handsome man? His name is William. And William fell in love with Rose, and they had a kid. His name is Charles. And Charles met Martha. Isn't she pretty? Yeah.
One of my favorite supplements.
sections of his economic policy directly, verbatim, word for word from Bernie Sanders. Look, it's classic liberalism. What Joe Biden stands for is he wants to raise taxes. Believe him, he's going to raise your taxes, and he wants to expand government. He wants to grow government. The liberals, the Democrats, they believe that more government will solve more of our problems. And it's just a contraction of liberty. When you do that, it is fundamentally wrong, but it is exactly what they will do. And you should believe Joe Biden when he says, yeah, I'm going to raise your taxes and give you more government.
And Sarah, it's more extreme than before. I mean, the way that the party's been captured is really striking. It does remind me exactly of what happened in the UK with the Labour Party. Of course, they lost resoundingly in the end to Boris Johnson. But the question I've got is whether the argument is made, well, they're saying this to campaign, they're going to keep the activists happy, it's just for the campaign. When they get there, if they're elected, it won't be as bad as all this. What do you make of all of that?
It'll be worse because this is basically not just Joe Biden. I know you. It's actually frightening. It really is when you think about it. This election is going to be the most important election, I believe, in modern history. It is a vote between socialism and Marxism and a free capitalist society where the individual and civil liberties is exalted and patriotism is honored. So we have those two choices, Steve. And I'm going to tell you this. It is about who's behind. Look at what's happened with Representative Ilhan Omar. Look at what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is saying. Look at the movement on the ground, you know, from the young that are being pushed by the universities and the colleges to be socialist, to not value what America fundamentally stands for. So this is actually as strange and bizarre as it is. Like, I love the music you use for this. As strange and bizarre as it is, it's really frightening because we are at a crux in this moment in time in our history, and we really have to make a decision. We really have to make a decision.
I think that's exactly right. And Jason, just a quick last thought here. I think it's frightening for another reason about the character of Joe Biden if he were to become president, because what this whole process tells us is that he really doesn't believe in anything at all. He's a classic machine politician. He'll blow whichever way the wind goes. He's been blown far off to the left. That means you can't rely on him in a crisis to lead. It's just, that's another reason it's so frightening.
He's been in office. He was elected in 1972 when I was barely kicking a soccer ball. He hasn't lived in the real world. He's been there in the bunker. And you really wonder who behind the scenes is the puppeteer that's actually going to be calling the shots and making things happen. And, you know, when you make Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez one of your co-chairmen of one of the policy areas on energy, believe them. These are the kinds of people that are going to be running your government. And that's what scares, I think, a lot of Americans.
Yeah, we're going to be hearing a lot more about all that. That's the choice, as Sarah put it. All right, coming up. As we said earlier, if your school isn't opening, don't accept it. Demand your money back so you can find an alternative. We'll show you how after the break.
The time is coming for us to get out and go again, to visit all the places we didn't know meant so much. But we're all going at our own speed. At Enterprise, peace of mind starts with our complete clean pledge, curbside rentals, and low-touch transactions. With so many vehicles of so many kinds, you can count on us to help you get everywhere you want to go. Again, whenever you're ready, we're ready.
on that explosion and massive fire on board a ship at Naval Base San Diego today. The fire on the USS Bonhomme Richard resulted in several injuries, all of them minor, and caused a huge plume of smoke that could be seen for miles in the area. We're monitoring what they're saying at that news conference, and we'll let you know if there's anything to bring you, any developments to report. All right, let's get back to the show. As we said earlier tonight, if your school isn't opening, don't accept it. It's your child, it's your money. Why should you pay for a service you're not getting? Reopen schools or give me my school money back. We said you should take it to the courts and fight for your rights and your money. And to explain how that could work, I'm joined now by a member of President Trump's outside legal team and executive director of the American Center for Law and Justice, Jordan Sekulow. Jordan, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You were the first person I thought of to talk about this because I guess you've been in the news and we all know what's been going on lately with respect to the president's legal troubles and so on. Sure. But actually a really important part of the ACLJ's work is supporting these legal cases that really drive forward a principle of freedom. And to me, that freedom of parents to choose the best school for their child, especially if the school isn't offering it, for all these reasons we set out, is fundamental.
School choice has been an issue that we have keyed in on, and we've argued all the way to the Supreme Court for decades, not just one decade, but decades. And now we're starting to see real results when it comes to school choice. Those amendments that used to be in place that prevented religious schools from receiving voucher money, that was just struck down by the Supreme Court. That means all those amendments that came about in the country when there were a lot of Irish immigrants, Irish Catholic immigrants. I mean, think about that. It just doesn't seem right in 2020 that we had laws on the books in that many states, 40 plus states, saying that we're not going to give money to religious schools even if we do have voucher programs because we don't like Catholics. That's how that law started in 1875. It was finally basically struck down by the Supreme Court this term in a case, the Espinoza case out of Montana. That's great news. But you point to the second issue is, it's great to have school choice, it's great to have vouchers if there's school, if there is school. And what we're looking at now is what happens for those underprivileged kids, the same ones we're working with, why we want vouchers. And we believe vouchers are the best option. You know, tax credits, they're great, they're wonderful, but a lot of these folks who are the most underprivileged, they're not even paying taxes, so these tax credits don't cover enough. Sometimes they're $500 or even $1,000. They don't cover the tuition. What we're looking at is voucher programs. But you've keyed on something important to all of us with children. Is school coming back? I will tell you, I get a different email every few days from the school, and I'm not sure, and it makes me nervous. And I'm in a situation, fortunately, where I can figure something out. Most people are not.
So let's look ahead, and I just want to give you a very specific situation. Let's say there's a parent watching tonight, and they're fed up, and they say, look, I'm not getting the answers I want from my school or my school board. I've had enough of it. I want to sue, to take them to court, to give me the money, like a voucher, so I can spend it somewhere else. Could you help them with that legal remedy?
Yes, so if it looks like in their district already that there is not going to be school, and some have already announced that, or the school is not going to be adequate for their child, at the American Center for Law and Justice, one thing we do, and this is separate from our work as attorneys for the president, but the ACLJ, we don't charge our clients. If you go to aclj.org and you're that person you just described, Steve, and you put that information out, you'll be contacted by one of our senior attorneys. That doesn't cost you anything. If we decide that you've got a case that we can go forward with, it won't cost you anything. We will fight the battle for you. And I think you've keyed in on a new battle, and I hope we can partner up, you and me and groups like us, who can represent these folks who would usually not have the means to hire big law firms. Hey, we represent the President of the United States. We can take a local school district to court or a state to court. Don't worry about that. But people, we can't do it without clients. So people have got to go to aclj.org. They've got to tell us what their situation is, and then we can go to fight for them.
Brilliant. I knew you were the perfect person. I'm so excited just listening to you, Jordan. Thank you for explaining that so clearly. And I really want to encourage anyone watching, whether you're a parent, you're a grandparent, and you know that the parents are frustrated about this, to listen to what Jordan just said. Go to aclj.org and let's fight this fight. Jordan, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks, Steve. Anytime.
All right, coming up. Last week, we talked about positive patriotism. Many of you had feedback for the president on that topic. We'll show you next.
Wow, this is exciting! It sure is, Terry. Hey, it's your last chance to win that big check from Publishers Clearinghouse. $7 grand a week for life, so don't miss it.
still on. I don't believe it. He must be on for a whole hour.
Democrats tell Biden to go big. He's being cautious. This election, some Democrats argue, offers the party the provocative possibility of a new path to the presidency, even as others warn against overconfidence. And now listen to this. This is the Washington Post in their story, a very similar kind of message there. Trump's drop in polls has confident Democrats sensing a tsunami coming in November.
Oh, yeah.
So, what do we think about that? Jason, are they getting too cocky, or is this justified?
No, go for it. I mean, they're right in a position like Hillary Clinton was. I mean, it was about 6 or 8 p.m. on election night, and they were clanging the champagne glasses because Hillary Clinton was going to be the president based on all these polls. So, you know, good luck, Democrats. I have never met, Steve, I've never met anybody who said, oh, boy, you know what? I just wish Joe Biden was the president. Then that would solve all these problems. I've never met that person. Never heard that they even exist.
So, Sarah, where do you think? I mean, what it's all based on? Actually, to be fair, there's a lot of polls coming out, all telling a very consistent story, which is President Trump falling quite badly behind, including in swing states. So that's what they're basing it on.
Right, they are basing it on that, but we also have to take into consideration whether or not Joe Biden can rally his base. We haven't seen that. You don't see voters out there just biting at the chomp to get out there and vote for Joe Biden. We don't see that kind of excitement for him. Now, there is concern. I don't think you should ever underestimate anyone. I think Hillary Clinton learned that lesson very well in 2016. And that's a lesson that the Trump administration obviously is very well aware of. But I think getting out there and being positive, Steve, what you mentioned before, you know, talking about all of the positivity that has come with this administration. Look, over the last 4 years, we have seen the economy better than we have seen it in a long time. Sure, we're dealing with COVID-19, we're dealing with this novel coronavirus, and I think all of us are struggling to figure out a way to handle this. How do we move forward? How do we get our society back on track? How do we get the economy roaring again? But the only way to get the economy back is with President Trump. If you're putting Biden beside President Trump, those are the two choices. And Americans have to ask themselves, are they willing to roll the dice on a Joe Biden, you know, a so-called progressive, type of economy, or are we going to go back to really a roaring economy where we're bringing manufacturing jobs back to the United States and really holding our competitors accountable and saying no more? The United States is going to put itself first for once, and we're going to move forward, and that brings the world ahead.
And just to sort of show how ridiculous they are, Jason, following up from that point from Sarah there, there's comment this week after the economic plan from Biden. Oh, he's talking about buy American and so on, like President Trump. He's adopting President Trump's America First policies. But actually, in the fine print of that exact document, they said, oh, as long as it's consistent with WTO rules. So actually, it's the same kind of globalist kind of philosophy, which is we mustn't challenge these international institutions. There's no change there.
Well, this is what Joe Biden's doing. He is a globalist. He's surrounding himself with the likes of Elizabeth Warren and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and some of these real liberal people. He's taken an anti-law enforcement position. So many of those Democrats have taken an anti-ICE position. These are anti-American positions. And I just think I think America is fed up with the Democrats blaming America for everything. I just think they're absolutely fed up for it. If Donald Trump talks about the beauty and the wonder of the United States of America, believes in America, and wraps himself around the flag, he will continue to thrive.
Right.
There you go. All right. Well, we've got more on the race for the White House. Sarah, hold that thought. We've got to take a short break. Back in a minute. Don't go away.
All right. So I'll start. Oh, do you want?
Forget it.
Oh, you can't skip ahead, huh?
No, it's live.
Oh, yeah.
It's been going on for some time. I can't be watching it all the time.
Yeah. What am I doing?
Oh, boy. So, maybe I should get you to take a picture quickly of your driver's license.
Oh, okay, because I'm not too, I'm kind of like comatose.
not too, but I can take a picture, I'm sure.
I'll just get it.
Not too, with it, right?
Well, either or.
I'm half asleep since I don't even know how to talk.
Yeah, it works good. So I think all you do is, I think it's this white one here. You just tap it and it'll take a picture.
Are you going to be going to bed early tonight? What time is it right now?
Oh, it's only 7:54. No, it's 9:54.
What time is it?
It's 9:54.
Oh my God! No wonder I'm so tired. It's 10 o'clock. Maybe it's Sunday. Why don't you give yourself a break? Go to bed early. Well, we did establish we'll go to bed at 10. Get our days and nights turned back around, right?
Yeah.
Because late nights.
I take my medicine at 10:30, and when that bell goes off, I go to bed.
No, you should take it at 10.
No.
Or you go to bed, David. 10:30 is way too
It's
late.
against the law.
Well, no, it's not against the law. You can take it.
I established the law being 10:30.
No, you can change that for one night.
So I just gotta have my face with that.
Sunday's a day of rest, so take some rest a little. Because what happens is I'll fall asleep in there. I come here, and I don't know what to do because.
Okay, you just gotta turn it around this way and hit the. I think it's that button there. You just tap it.
Alright.
Or no, maybe it's this one. Yeah, I think it's that one. Anyhow, I'm just gonna hold this thing under my head, I guess. And if you can just kind of.
Under your head. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can see if it's.
Well, this is not very close up, David.
Is that better?
I don't know what to tell you, but you're not very close up. You could. It's okay. Get it close like this. So this is what matters. Just your face in the background is okay. All right. What the heck? The camera went off. Where did it go?
Oh, okay. I'll
Where is
find
the
it for
camera?
you.
Right there.
Oh, okay. Just tap it. I think you can see where to tap.
Yeah, but I think I have to tap it. Oh, I
Don't
can't
put your
really-
fingers in front of the camera.
I didn't. Well, that just made it come in a little. Okay, so tap. Oh, tap right there. Where do I tap? Where do you?
I
see
think
it?
it's the white one
Right
under
there?
the dot, yeah.
Oh, that's what I did, but okay.
Oh, nothing?
Well, I don't know, but I'll do
Well,
it
just
again.
tap the other one there.
Okay, just now, which one should? It took your picture, I think, maybe, yeah.
Okay.
So
then.
do you want me to take a couple?
You want me
or-
to see if that picture's good?
Yeah,
or not?
let's see if that's good.
Well, it doesn't
Oh.
show my face. It has to
Well,
show
that's
my
not
face.
good. You should have shown your face. I saw your face in there.
No, it just shows.
Okay.
Well, I'll see. Maybe it does. What? That's a video.
Oh.
No, it isn't. Well, how come it's doing that? What? How can it be moving? You must have hit the corner.
I didn't hit. I didn't think.
Yeah, it's a video.
It's a video. That's no good.
What? Shoot. It's on. Hold on. Oh boy. Okay. I want to make sure the video's not recording still. I don't think it is.
Oh boy. You were gonna take a picture of yourself.
I'll
right?
just take a picture to make sure I know which one it is that you tap.
Oh, okay.
I think it's this white one here.
Okay, I gotta go lay down. My knee. is
Hold on,
getting
I'm just
really
going to
bad.
tell you which one it is. Yeah, it's that one. Okay. So now that we know that, I'll just delete that. And,
Oh my God, I'm so tired. It's just torture. You don't get it.
okay, hold on. I'm just going to.
Oh.
Okay. So, all you do is tap the white thing inside there. And just get my face in it.
Okay.
And I'll put this very close to my
Okay.
face. So.
The white thing. There's two white things. One's inside the picture. One's
hit
outside.
hit the one inside. You just tap it.
Okay. Okay, now just hold on. Now where's you want it a close up right there on that thing. But is that close enough? Put it down a little bit because I can't get your head in. Okay, let's see. Now just a minute. Now hold still and I will frame it. Hold still. Hold still. It's not taking a picture. I have to do the one outside.
Okay, do the one outside.
I thought you said that's a movie camera. I don't know. This one didn't turn out good. No, because you better do
Well,
another
let's see.
one. Let's just do another one here. Okay, come up closer if you can. Put that thing, up closer. Now hold still. Hold still. And let me just move this around. Just hold still.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well,
maybe you can make it bigger.
okay, we'll see.
That doesn't look too good to me. Oh. I don't think it's too good. I gotta go lay down. Just, however.
It's too blurry.
Yeah, it's not very good, David. Can you do it in the mirror?
Oh, that's an idea. But it might be backwards. It would be backwards then, maybe.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, why don't you just take a picture of yourself and then take a picture of your card and then take a picture of you with your card, and if it's blurry, that's okay.
No, you have to have it. One picture.
Oh.
It's poor.
Well, jeepers. But you have a camera as well, don't you, that would be better than that?
The problem is if I reverse it, everything's backwards on here.
Oh, yeah, that's no good. Well, you can't have that.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, it's pretty hard to do that. Actually, it's pretty sharp when it's close.
Yeah, maybe come stand over here to do it. Like stand closer to me. Can we do this tomorrow? I'm just comatose.
Yeah,
useless.
okay, sure.
Yeah, we'll do it tomorrow when I'm awake. Oh, David. Okay.
Oh boy. I got a good picture, but then they say they don't want screenshots. Stupid idiots are so dumb.
Well, you might have to go and
Blinking fussy.
You might have to go to the
assholes.
mall and get them to do it.
No, I'm not going to the mall. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
we couldn't find a decent one at the mall.
You can do it with a camera with no problem.
Yeah, you got a camera. You got a big camera, don't you?
Well, I already did one, but they consider, I don't know if they'll know it's a screenshot anyhow. I already did one.
And they didn't receive it? They didn't accept it?
No, it's not that. It's that it says in there they don't want any screenshots. I had to take a screenshot of it. So, you know, where is it? Carrot bars right here.
Well, that guy that you were talking to, too bad you didn't ask him what's the best way to take a picture.
See, here's the picture I got. Coming up. And see, I got a very good one there.
Well, so what's wrong with that then?
It's a screenshot. That's the problem. They say, oh, they don't want screenshots.
What the heck?
What the
why
hell's
not?
the difference? You know, you blinking idiots. I think I'll just do it anyhow. As if they would know. I don't know. Maybe they could.
What do they expect? Good grief. Do they? It's like they want you to go and get a professional picture done.
No, not the case. You can do it with your camera.
I know, but what are we gonna do? Because we both need one, right?
Well, just hold the camera and take a picture. And a picture of yourself holding your ID card, passport, or driver. Your proof ID must be a valid government. Okay, ID document. A clear picture in color, an expiration date, and the relevant date of birth. Okay. Okay, well, I got all that. No envelopes, no screenshots or online bills will be accepted. Too bad. Doing it anyhow. No screenshots. How can you tell if it's a screenshot?
Yeah, there you go. Just, well then, if it's not.
I don't get
miss
that.
your July deal. You know what I mean? Can you call that guy back that you were talking to today?
No, I don't need to talk to him. He's not the one that deals with this. No screenshots or online bills.
Oh,
will
well, I'm
be
sure he's
accepted.
had other people ask him.
No.
There's gotta be somebody can ask.
Anyhow, I might just use this one because I'm fed up.
Yeah, but. hope
If they reject it, that's their
No,
problem.
but I hope you don't lose out on the July deal, right? You see what
Oh,
I'm
I'm
saying?
not worried about it.
Well, yeah.
I'm just trying to get the documentation up that they need. Okay.
Why did it have to be so ding dong frickin' difficult to do?
Anyhow, I'm going to go to TELUS right now and see if I can download a TELUS bill. Because I'm not going to have that until I just screw up on me. TELUS.com.
Can we download the TELUS bill for my internet?
It'll have to be your TELUS bill.
Yeah, on the internet, right?
Well, that's what I'm doing is logging into my TELUS account. I think that's the right login. Oh, I gotta get those bright lights off there. I put on extra lighting on there. It's really bright.
Oh.
Okay, download the PDF right here. Oh, that one's the one that's due. Current balance. Home phone bill. Manage. Download. Pay bill. I don't have to pay the bills automatically paid.
Oh, yes. Mm. Oh, my God.
Oh, I know how I can do it. I have a video camera that takes pictures.
Oh, great.
And it's way better quality than any phone can do because it's steady, you know, you don't have to, you can actually see the thing. Why I didn't think of it, I don't know. Come, get rid of it. What a crappy mess. Too much crap around here. Get in the way of everything. Okay. Actually, I want to start doing messages too. But at this time of the night, I can't do anything.
guess I have to take this before I go to sleep, right?
Who knows these days, you
No,
know?
the progesterone, I can't take it now, cause I have to, if I fall asleep in your room, I still gotta get up, wake up and get over to there, so take it just. I'm supposed to take it just before I go to bed, right?
Oh, who knows? You know, I don't know.
I think it's
What did you want to take?
the progesterone. Right? You know, the progesterone. Well, I don't know what they mean by inner arms, but 2 wrists, inner arms or thighs, once a day at bedtime. So, I don't know what my bedtime is just yet, I better wait, see. Oh boy.
A light bulb in my hands.
What, take it off? You, just like bothering you, is it?
No, no, no. I'm just trying to get things set up proper here, that's all. Should be on there, tungsten. Okay, we'll keep it at tungsten. Now. How come what's going on with this stuff? This is not working properly. Okay. Fine. I'm not gonna have it on there. Does that kind of crap. Okay. I wonder. All I need is that size. I don't need an enormous size like that.
Oh.
I don't want a digital effect. No. What are you doing?
No, I just.
Okay, as far as I can see, everything's fine there. So let's get out of this. Why can't I get this stupid thing to move up and down? What is it? Supposed to set it wrong. Oh, there it is. But it doesn't go any. Oh, there it goes. Okay, it was up to. So, why is that so strangely colored? It's good enough. We're just going to take a picture anyhow. Should have had it on orange. It's too gray, too much gray. So let's go over here. That's better. Keep it there. Oops. And tungsten doesn't seem to be the best setup because there's no color in tungsten to speak of. Tungsten. That's strange.
Yes.
The closest color to the real color is right there, which is daylight. Oops. Daisy, what the hell? Okay, let's keep it a daylight then.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's the best way to take pictures. To hold the camera steady like that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Really.
Oh, now you're in camera, Margaret, but I'm not running it. I'm not taking pictures. So
Oh, I'm not.
You're
I'm
sick.
gonna be out of here in a minute. I just gotta get my
now I'm gonna get a close up. I'll just see what it looks like. I can do camera mode on Okay, where's that covered? Gotta see how close I am. I'm too close, or what's wrong? It's not wrong. Okay. Gotta have it from up higher. Point down instead of up. I don't think I'm gonna go on camera.
No room for my feet.
Oh, sister, we'll make sure you have room for your feet. Oh, yes, sister.
Not until we get those things tomorrow from Walmart.
Oh, that's way too close up. Oh, boy. That's too close up. Wow. I should have it facing this way. No, I should be facing the light. Right. Okay. Too close up.
Oh, don't show all my wrinkles, please.
Oh.
Oh, terrible. You're scaring the living daylights out of us. Very interesting. Okay, what I need to do. Boy, is that showing up the... I don't like that at all. I'm gonna go the other way. There's too many wrinkles there.
Okay, David, you're talking so loudly with me up. I might as well just stay asleep and go to bed.
Okay. Oh, it's not available. Okay, so I gotta switch it back.
At least you don't have to put makeup on to take a picture.
No, I don't believe in such things as makeup. I just make it up on my
You don't
own.
have to worry about that.
You know, I don't want to worry about it. It's too
You
big.
should have enough color in your face. You don't have to do that.
Oh, I didn't think of it that way. Man, I can't see a darn thing with this light on.
I can't even see the
There
dials
you
on the
go.
camera.
Yeah. Gotta have light to see.
Now, let's see if that's good.
Oh,
Oh
That's-
boy.
That's no good. Unless I can get.
Oh. Dear Jesus. Help,
Oh, you should have got it the other way. That's
help,
way.
help, help.
Well, that's interesting. Not bad.
What time is it, David?
It's
Oh, here's a Telus bill I can show them. They're right here. Look at that.
it has to be within 6 months.
Oh, this is within 6 months, I think.
It's not mine.
February 14th. So would that be within 6 months?
Oh, it's not from if it's my Telus bill.
No, I'm talking about mine.
Oh, if it's within 6 months, yeah.
February to, yeah, just barely. Because it's July right now. And this is February 14th, so it would work. It'll work.
Okay, I can bring that up a bit closer. Just a bit closer. Ooh, that's way too close. It's really hard to get the thing about right. Well, I guess that's okay.
But then they went and started charging me more money, more, $8, $9 a month more for what? You know?
I know what's wrong. This thing is too
What
low.
kind of crap is that?
What's that?
I just got a thing from them a month ago that they're charging me $8, $9 for what I don't even know. It didn't even say on there what it was for. Does that mean they're charging me every month? And you can't get a hold of them because they got this big excuse. COVID-19.
Tell them a thing or two, sister.
Well, I'd
You
like to
tell
know
them.
what the heck they're doing. All of a sudden charging you
Give it.
this anonymous charge. You know?
I'll just phone them up.
Bogus charge. That's really too much, man. Out of the blue, I got this extra charge for what?
Being a good girl? I don't think so.
That's still criminal. Because you know these companies are hooked up with Trudeau now. They're in his club.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
She's just like him. Holy smokes. She's right in there like a dirty shirt.
That's pretty good. Now, can I take the picture?
So, you know what, David, we should.
Where's the button for the picture? Right, there's the button. Yeah, it's right there. Gotta push that button. Now, on the, I just want to see what it looks like on the
Can you just set this on your desk, grab it from me, please? So we
Not
don't
right-
lose it?
what?
Because I don't want to
Not
lose
right
it.
now. I'm doing this.
Okay, I'm gonna put it here, David. Don't just take it and put it
Yeah,
there,
okay.
I guess. Because gonna need that.
So the camera's like that.
Oh.
All you hit is the camera button. So all you need to do is hit the camera button for me. You don't have to touch
Oh,
it.
I gotta get out of
You just gotta punch that button right there.
You want me to do that?
I don't know. Maybe I
Tell
can
me
do it
when.
myself. Hold on, let's see if I can do it. That's the button.
You have to have it below your face, though. You're covering your face. Don't cover your chin.
Well,
You'd want to have to do it again, do you?
it's probably best right there where my chin isn't
You
covered.
better take a couple of shots.
Hmm?
Yeah, probably best where your chin's not covered because they want your face.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go click it for you?
Yeah, you can click it. I wanna see if it's clear.
Oh my God, I didn't
It's
take my...
got a lot of pixels.
Oh, shit.
I'll show you the button. All you have to do is push it.
I
You don't
see
even have
it.
to stand behind. It's not. It's
Well, you're not
right
showing
on the
me.
end. Right there. There's a button right
Oh, the silver button.
there. Yeah. Okay. Hold on. I'll tell you when I'm ready.
Okay.
Let's see. I guess my chin should be showing. Well, we'll try there. Didn't expect the bright light.
Do you want another one?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You're covering your chin, though. I know that. I can see it.
Well, this one I won't.
Okay.
Okay. That should do it. I'll look at them online. That's it.
Oh my God. Can I shut this light out now?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
I'll shut it out. I know which one to pull. I don't want it to start swinging around the fan and everything. Attracting birds in here. Okay, so I got that done for now. So that's pretty good. It is 10:27, so I'm going to have my.
So you're gonna what?
Yeah, so I'll be going to bed soon.
Oh yes, 10:30. Oh, so I don't want to go in there yet because it's too bright in the front room there. But I'm waiting.
Okay, I don't know where that went to. I didn't know I had all those images on it. Okay, that's just that. Okay, I don't want those. Shoot. None of those are the right images. What the hell goes? Okay, forget this.
There's the bedtime siren going off again. They're smart to do that. They do that in Abbotsford too. That is smart.
It's not bedtime sirens.
No, but you know what I'm saying. They always come by.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying it's a bedtime siren. Well, you know.
Oh, I didn't know.
I mean, don't take it to heart.
Yeah, I take it to heart. Okay, memory card. Can.
Oh my god. Well, at least I know I'm gonna fall asleep.
Well, that's sure not it. Come on, where's the images? Start turning. Sure not in there. Oh, for crying out loud, where are they? Stupid thing. It says removable storage. What's this Epson? No, that's something else. It's nothing. It's got to be this one here. Yeah, it's got to be this one. Well, how come it doesn't show the blooming picture? Oh, maybe because I got it in the wrong mode. That could be. Because I took it as a camera picture? Oh boy, that's probably why. So where is it in here? Stupid thing should be in there. It's not showing up in there. I don't see nothing. Where in the world is that? Shit. So where did the bloomin' picture go? This one has nothing in it. Okay, it's not in this section at all. Which really is weird. Why wouldn't have it taken a picture? Sure is blank stupid. Okay, is it possible? Roscoe's in another section. It's not doing a thing. It should be in the camera section. But it's not in the camera section. It must be one of those pictures, but why is it so hard to spot? Achoo! So it's a Bitdefender that's getting in my way again, you stupid intrusive jerks. I don't want you in my blinking computer, you're just a pain in the butt. Idiots. They block everything. So you can't do a darn thing. Stupid jerks. So where did they go to? Don't even tell the people where you put this stuff, you stupid dummies. What a bunch of stupid idiots. That's not it. Boy, oh boy, where'd you put the images? It's not going to be on there now. None of those look like the right. They're all garbage. Boy, this makes me mad. Anyhow. Okay, forget it. Stupid dummies. Those are all the wrong images. What the hell goes? I'm never going. What happened to those pictures I took?
You still have to have it really bright in there, David, because maybe I may start laying down on the couch. What do you think?
As long as there's a light on in the background, I don't want
Okay.
it dark here.
Okay.
Well, that's too dark.
Oh.
I took 3 pictures and they're not here. What the?
Well, we can do it tomorrow. You don't like
Oh,
it?
we're gonna have to.
Yeah. You'll take a better picture when you're not tired, too.
I'm not tired now.
Well, in the morning you're way more awake, you know, in the day, whatever.
Boy, that makes you mad. Stupid bunch of crap. So last time I'm going to take a picture of that crap. So there's no images on the camera. All the images that are there are crap. They're not the right images. So the camera didn't save them. What the hell? I don't get it. Anyway, I shouldn't use that word, but boy, that's disgusting.
You know what? I just thought of something.
Yep.
It's to do with our government over here.
That's not a picture. No, I didn't think so. Anyhow,
Oh boy.
I'll better go to bed. Forget it. Have to do it tomorrow.
Once the Clintons go down, they're gonna start falling like dominoes because Hillary Clinton, well, she's got so much, she has no loyalty to anyone when it comes right down to it. She's gonna squill on everybody. And everybody's gonna be found by tons of proof, lots of proof, every kind of proof. Everything's gonna go flying.
Anyhow, I'm going to bed. For some reason it didn't save those pictures, and there's no reason it shouldn't have saved them.
Oh, well, you'll get better ones tomorrow anyway.
Well, I have to now. It'll be daylight, so it'll be better quality pictures. Anyhow. Okay, I'm gonna put the camera down.
The Clintons might even, I think, oh, she's got so much rage in her, she'll even expose, she'll give the goods on Trudeau's to bring, you know?
Okay.
You know, she goes down, she's gonna bring everybody she can down with her.
She wants to be vice president.
Hillary?
Yeah, and then she can run the whole show, because Biden's too.
She wants to run with Biden? Now?
Well, I'm just kidding. But
I'm sure she would love that. Of course she would.